Mercedes upgrade plan just leaked. So we're gonna be going through that and 5 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Mercedes news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel hitting that red button down below. The first story is Mercedes Imola upgrade just got leaked. With a 3.5-week break between the Australian and Azerbaijan Grand Prix weekends, Formula One teams have the opportunity to refine their cars and push ahead with development plans. James Allison, the chief technical officer of Mercedes, has explained how Mercedes are going to use the Easter break like any other working period, as they look to address the W14's aerodynamic flaws. What will we be doing? Well, we are working as hard as we can in the wind tunnel to find more downforce, and we will be working as hard as we can. The drawing office to convert the things the wind tunnel found a few weeks ago into performance that we deliver to the track, Allison said. We will also be working in the drawing office to bring some mechanical parts to the car, some different suspension components that we think will help the underlying balance of the car and make it a more drivable thing, making it something that the drivers have more confidence to push right to the limits. And we will be working on the normal sort of simulation loop and routine that allow us to prepare for the race weekends that are coming up, making sure that we land the car in the right place when we get to the race, and that will be a big deal in Baku, he added. With Baku being a tight street circuit and the first sprint race of the season, it will be critical for teams to have perfected their setup to leave the 4th round with maximum points. Sprint races really reward the teams that can land there with a starting setup that is pretty on the money and ready to go in qualifying, because the time is really compressed in a sprint race weekend, Allison said. Those are the things we will be working on, and hopefully we work well and strong and have a good showing when we show up in Baku in just a few weeks' time. Heading to Azerbaijan, Mercedes are 9 points behind Aston Martin and 67 points behind Red Bull, so the Silver Arrows will be hoping for a high-scoring weekend to get back in the title hunt. Mercedes is gearing up for a significant upgrade to its W14 car ahead of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, with visible changes to the layout of the vehicle. The team is seeing the upgrade package as a crucial turning point for Mercedes' 2023 season, which has so far failed to match the level of dominance the team has enjoyed for the past 7 years. Despite a recent upturn in form, the team has yet to match the performance of its rivals at Red Bull, who currently leads the World Championship by a significant margin. Even though the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix is coming up soon, Mercedes hasn't said what will be in the upgrade package. However, team CEO and principal Toto Wolff has hinted that the team will change the concept of the car. Speaking to the media, Wolff said there are many innovations in the pipeline and that Mercedes is bringing a new car layout when F1 heads to Italy for the first of 2 races this season. He added that he is determined to keep the team motivated to do the best possible job, and that he still believes Mercedes can compete for the World Championship, despite the current points gap. The Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, which takes place on April 16th, 18, will be a crucial test for Mercedes, which will hope to close the gap between Red Bull and Aston Martin in the standings. The team has been working hard behind the scenes to improve the performance of the W14, and fans will be eagerly awaiting news of what changes the team has made ahead of the race. With the World Championship still in its early stages, there is plenty of time for Mercedes to turn things around and mount a serious challenge to Red Bull. However, the team will need to get its upgrade package right if it is to have any chance of closing the gap with its rivals. Fans will be watching the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix closely to see how Mercedes performs and whether the upgrade package will significantly improve the performance of the W14. If the team can close the gap with Red Bull, it could be the turning point in what has so far been a disappointing start to the season for the reigning champions. The second story is Lewis Hamilton says Mercedes F1 team didn't listen to concerns over 2023 car design. Lewis Hamilton is upset at Mercedes after his Formula One team refused to make changes he recommended after a rough 2022 season. It's about owning up and saying, yeah, you know what? We didn't listen to you. It's not where it needs to be and we've got to work, Hamilton said on BBC Radio 5 Live's Checkered Flag podcast. As Benson noted, most teams have followed the designs pioneered by Red Bull heading into the 2023 season, while Mercedes will stick with its own zero sidepod concept. Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff already admitted this was a mistake after qualifying for the first race of the season, planning changes with his engineers. Red Bull Racing cruised to a team victory last year behind champion Max Verstappen, who won 15 of 22 races. Mercedes fell to third behind Ferrari, with Hamilton falling to sixth place in the final standings. The British driver had won the championship in 6 of the previous 8 years, never finishing lower than second. It was Hamilton's first season in Formula One where he didn't win a single race. The 38-year-old said he told Mercedes about the problems a year ago. "Last year, there were things I told them. I said the issues that are with the car," Hamilton said. "I've driven so many cars in my life. I know what a car needs. I know what a car doesn't need. I think it's really about accountability." Hamilton finished in 5th place in Sunday's Bahrain Grand Prix, with teammate George Russell finishing in 7th. The third story is Wolff explains how Mercedes have improved since Bahrain. Toto Wolff has explained the improvements that Mercedes have made since the 2023 F1 season kicked off in Bahrain. It has been a challenging start to the year for the Silver Arrows, with the team being outpaced by Red Bull, Aston Martin, and Ferrari at the first race of the campaign. However, there have been signs of progress. Chief Technical Officer James Allison declared that the squad had a sense of quiet satisfaction after their seemingly improved form at the third event of the season in Australia. Speaking during the weekend at Albert Park, Wolff identified the areas where the team have made steps forward in recent weeks. "I think where we put the car last year was probably too low, and where we developed the car for this year was probably too high," Wolff told media, including RacingNews365.com. "And all of these decisions can be retraced and understood now. What the package is now, the team is able to just pinpoint and find the sweet spot of the car much better. There's been some great work done in the aerodynamics over the last few weeks in trying to hit performance where we believe realistically. So all of that is coming together, and it's just a matter of having a good weekend and extracting the performance that is in the car, the understanding we have." Mercedes currently sit third in the Constructors' Championship on 56 points, 9 points away from Aston Martin in second. The fourth story is Russell still needs to prove himself at Mercedes. George Russell must still prove himself at Mercedes, according to former Formula One driver and 1996 world champion Damon Hill. Mercedes have endured a tough start to their 2023 campaign, with the W14 not providing them with the results on track that they were expecting. Although Russell managed to win the team's only race with the troubled W13 in Brazil last year, Hill believes the Briton still needs to justify himself being a valuable asset to the squad. George has to work very hard. He has to make himself a valued asset of the team, and he's obviously doing that really well, said Hill on the F1 Nation podcast. But at the same time, he's the one that has to do all the hard work. "I think Lewis doesn't have to. They know what they've got with Lewis. Mercedes know that given half a sniff of a chance, Lewis is going to be back on top form and can deliver those extraordinary races. They know that George can do that too, but he has yet to prove all that." Hamilton has previously detailed his own sacrifices he had to make while struggling to understand where Mercedes' performance was lacking. Hill thinks that Hamilton takes a more relaxed approach to the season before letting things unfold, which enables him to capitalize on opportunities. Lewis will have sussed this out, and then he'll be sitting there thinking, "I'll let you do all the hard work, George, because it's exhausting doing all this apart from anything else," Hill commented. He's also the director of the GPDA, so he's got a big workload and he's taken on quite a lot. "But I think with Lewis, his strategy has always been to remove as many distractions as possible and leave time for downtime and clarity and stuff like that." The fifth story is Mercedes finding more gains on sim than whole winter. For all their optimism when launching the W14, the revised car concept from last year's W13 has not delivered the on-track results Mercedes hoped. With just one podium in the opening 3 races, the opening rounds in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia were a tough challenge for the squad as they appeared miles off the pace of Red Bull. Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff has admitted that the team must change its car concept if it stands a chance at challenging for titles again. A front row start in Melbourne appeared as though the team was finding performance in their car. However, it seems they still lack the race pace needed to challenge for wins on merit. George Russell believes their recent work in the simulator has been more beneficial than their entire off-season development during the break between seasons. "We're probably finding more gains in the past 2 or 3 weeks than we found over the whole winter by clearly developing in the wrong window," said Russell. "So it's definitely heading in the right direction. We're working really hard at the moment with these changes. I won't give too much away. We need to make sure they work as expected." Toto Wolff acknowledges that the team made the wrong choice in car design during the winter break. Speaking to motorsport.com, the Mercedes team boss admits that the team was misled by the relatively good performance at the end of last season. Mercedes fell hard off its pedestal in 2022 after 7 years of being absolutely dominant and narrowly losing the win to Max Verstappen in 2021. The German team was nowhere near as strong in 2022 as in previous years. The only win of the season came in the penultimate race when George Russell won the Brazilian Grand Prix. At the time, the win was met with loud cheers from Mercedes and was seen as a sign that the improvements over the course of the season were finally paying off. Now, however, Wolff argues that the victory created false expectations among the team. As a result of the victory in Brazil and the good performances in Austin and Mexico around the same time, the team thought that the design was working well enough that, with some tweaks, it would be able to return to previous levels of success in 2023. It is now clear that this is not the case. Aston Martin has passed Mercedes in many ways, and Red Bull is even further away than it was before. Wolff calls it a perfect storm to create the wrong picture. We thought we were on the right track and the concept works, but it didn't. And this year, the second year into the regulations, there's a lot of evidence about what went wrong, the Mercedes team boss said.